So the first type of mass movement I want to talk about is the slowest, and that's called creep. So with creep, we have this very slow downhill movement of this material on top that we call the regolith. So basically what happens is every year, especially up north, the material undergoes freezing and thawing. So in the wintertime, the ground freezes, and when it freezes, it expands, and when it thaws, it contracts. So what happens is as it freezes and thaws, as it expands and contracts, the material moves, right? So you can get this very slow downhill movement. And when I say slow, you can't watch it happen. So it's incredibly slow. And usually we only get different type of features that you can see afterwards that tell us creep is happening. So here you can see, this is my personal favorite, you have these bent trees right here. So basically what happened is, this is the original position the tree up here is marking the original position of the ground. Let me switch to a different color right here. And what happened is the ground is slowly moving this way, so it's pulling the roots, but the tree is still maintaining where it was originally, where it originally started growing. So you get these really cool bends in the trees. Or the same thing here in cemeteries. It's real easy to see. So for example, this tombstone here, the top of the tombstone is showing you where the original position was, and the ground is slowly moving this way underneath it. So you can't watch creep happen as it's occurring, but you can see the after effects of it for sure. The next one's just a little bit faster, and this is soil deflection. So soil deflection is where we get this very slow downhill movement of material. So this is the downhill movement of material. But what makes this a little bit different than what we saw with creep is that this happens in areas of tundra. And with the tundra, we have to have ground that is permanently frozen. So basically what you would have is, down here you have a layer that's completely frozen, and then you've got sediment sitting on top of the soil. It's this soil that moves. The frozen part stays frozen, so it's basically sliding on top of that frozen part. So as a result, you can see how this is flowing downhill. You can kind of see these waves in here. So definitely easy to see soil deflection. So it's a little bit faster than creep. Picking up speed slightly, our next one is rock glaciers. And here you can see that we have a glacier, and that glacier definitely isn't pretty white with snow. It's full of a lot of material. Glaciers are very abrasive as they move over the sediment or over the ground itself. They act like sandpaper, right? Just kind of rubbing and picking up all of this material as they move. So, and then of course the more material it picks up, the more rough it's going to become on the rocks that are sitting below it. So what's pulling this glacier downhill is gravity, so we have this very slow movement of ice and rock that's moving. And of course over time what will eventually happen is that glacier will melt, and all of that material will drop out of the glacier.